focus, or we put a big emphasis and focus on etymology, and we split it up. This is what Taj does, you know, when he teaches at Everlasting Life, so that's where I got the premise from, where we'll divide word in two. That's all I'm saying doing. He'll say on one side, you know, you have your de jure, and your other side, you have your de facto. And we broke down what that meant etymologically, because the premise is that we want you, and even ourselves, as we're still unfolding, to be able to like know these things without having to memorize. We rather it be you know it because you have a firm comprehension, and the etymology gives you that. So then, I also said the words denotation and connotation. So now, which side? Well, I'll put some more words up here. So we did. And we put citizen kind of in the middle. Sorry. This is how we did it. We did domicile. And then we did resident or residence. And then we did national. And then we did citizen, but I wouldn't put it all the way on this side per se, because it's not a false concept. Right? And so this side, I was getting ready to ask you, but I told you it's kind of backwards. It's denotation, and this side is connotation. Okay. So then why would de facto be a connotative concept and de jure would be a denotative concept? First of all, we know what denotation and connotation mean? Okay, when I ask you what it means, then that means you gotta be like, tell me the etymology too. Because that's what we're working to do, you know what I mean? Be right and exact. So, I mean, you can kind of look at it and get a sense of at least what the prefix is, right? What do you think the prefix for each of these words would be?
The connotation would be con.
Right. D. Yep, these words have the same root and suffix, but they have different prefixes. So, denotation and connotation, they are nouns. But if I wanted to make it a verb, that's what inflective endings do. They change the part of speech. I want to make it a verb. I have denote, and I have connote. So, as you can see, it's the same root, note. So, to note something means to mark. I mean, if you think about it, what is a note to somebody that you're marking down using letters or numbers? You're using some form of symbols to convey an idea. So, it's literally a mark. D means complete. So, it's the complete marking. In other words, the denotation is the complete meaning, because utilizing the roots and the prefix and the suffix, you're defining the word completely. You're not adding in any concepts, any ideas from society, what they think the word means. So that's D meaning completely, note means mark. Con means additional or with. Like in Spanish, the word con means with. So typically it implies togetherness. And then note. So con, what is together? What is it with? They're referring to the additional meaning. So one example I'm sure you all have heard is nice. Has anyone heard nice? Right? Pardon?
Nice means you're stupid, girly.
It means stupid,
And
definitely.
you're girly.
You said girly?
You're a girly man.
Oh.
Don't look at more of you're a girly man. And bad, same thing, you're bad. Bad is a woman that is very masculine.
Denotatively or connotatively? Because we want to be on.
Denotatively.
So I'm going to show you, I'm going to flip this back around. But I'm going to show you what nice means denotatively. And we actually use the dictionaries too. I showed them how to look for words in the etymological bracket to get the denotative meaning. Because usually when we read the dictionary, we go to the first entry, and then there's like 10 others maybe, and we're like, oh, well, we're not going to read all those. But what you really want to look at first is the part of speech. So it'll be right after the word. It'll be like N for noun, AEJ for adjective. You might see VT. That's a verb transitive. So you know that's a verb. So that's how you can qualify what I'm getting ready to say. The dictionary is right there. I also brought this one down. This one's okay. It's not. It does have etymologies. This one does have etymology in it, but that one's nice.
It is.
I got that upstairs.
Oh.
Yeah. I didn't bring mine because my hands were full.
I still gotta get some.
But like I said, I have 3 of them, and I didn't pay any more than $22 for them. So for all 3 together, combined, not like each, you know. But they also have this online. The whole dictionary is online at ahdictionary.com, and I believe there's an app as well for that same dictionary. So nice. So actually breaks down to this. So NE means not. And what is science? What do you think that is? It's just knowledge or knowing something. That's why nice means stupid or ignorant, because it literally means not knowing. So that's how we want to break down our words. The other one that you might have heard, just so I can solidify the example, is consider. What is the connotative meaning of consider? Oh, and by the way, before you move on, so if you were to say, what's the root in the prefix for this word? It's N, and then you don't see the E anymore because they dropped it. And then the root is SCI. And what they did was they dropped the S and then they switched the C and the I. And there's an etymological principle. When you move letters around, you take letters out of words, you add letters, it's called transliteration. And it happens from language to language. So the root here is SCI, meaning to know, and the prefix is NE, meaning not. So consider. What do y'all think consider means? What's your understanding of it? Yep. Now how did you know that? Okay, that's all right. Now we don't know. Oh, okay. Okay. Fair enough. So what do y'all think the prefix is? Yep. So then what's the root? It's sitter. And this means star. So it's to ponder, addressing, or with the stars. Peace. Okay. So that's what we mean by breaking a word down to its bare known. Nobody can argue etymology. They'll try through what they call an etymological fallacy. An etymological fallacy is in a debate or argument when they say, well, you can't define words based on their etymological meaning because we don't mean nice to be stupid anymore. We don't see consider to mean ponder with the stars and utilize astrology, right? So they'll make the argument etymology doesn't give you modern day meanings. But our response to that is we don't want modern day meanings, especially when it comes to law. Because the law relies heavily upon etymology. And the second thing is that there's Abdullah taught me, and he mentioned this to me about a year ago. But when I was in college, I studied government, and this was something that we learned as well. So when you're dealing with law, it's all about interpretation. You have, and what we really want to go with is strict interpretation. Meaning, we want to go with what it originally meant. Whatever the people who introduced the law or the concepts, whatever they thought it was, that's what we want to go with, because that's what is closest to common law, and that's what we want to operate under, common law. So, any questions so far?
Look, like studying law, I know that, I can't remember exactly where I read it, but I know there was something where the Supreme Court already stated that, like, interpreting the Constitution has to be done with the, like, basically understanding the term that whatever meaning they use during that time frame for that word.
That's how it's supposed to be, but it depends on who is in office or who's holding the place of the judge, right? The Supreme Court justices. So, because that's very political. People the president selects Supreme Court justices based on political agenda. That's why.
If it's already been decided, right?
Mm-hmm.
They can't back out of it.
Unless somebody, that's the whole premise of Moorish science, right? Just like it's already been determined that you don't need a driver's license. However, the issue is enforcement. We're learning how to enforce. And I will say on the record, my opinion of this whole movement, a lot of people are trying to do things on their own, and you have to a certain extent when you get into situations. But if we really want to do something meaningful for our community and for the nation as a whole, we have to act collectively. So that was like the whole purpose of even organizing this. But you're right, it's supposed to be strict interpretation. Even when you read about the Federalist Papers, that's what the big argument was. They were arguing over, should we be very strict with our interpretation, or the other end is very connotative. They're saying, well, let's interpret it based on what it would mean today, based on how society is today. But society is the way it is today because the denotations were not honored. So, turning it back around. So yeah, that's what we went over last week. So, de jure versus de facto, this is the key. Does anyone know what jure means? J-U-R-E? So, one thing too, I don't know if y'all have a handout, but these are all pieces. Right, it means what's right, yeah. Right, positive, that's de jure. Facto, I'll give you a hint. Well, no, I'll ask you first. What other words have F-A-C-T in it? A factory. What do you do at a factory? You make things. You make things. F-A-C-T, F-A-C, F-I-C, and F-Y. Those are all roots that have the same meaning. The word fiction, F-I-C, right? What is a fictional story versus a non-fiction story? It's fake, right? So, okay, we have fiction, it's made up. then we have factory. It's where we make things. So what do you think the root fact or fit or this is indemnify, like indemnify, calcify, verify. What do you think all of those mean? To make. Yeah, to make or to do. So de facto is made up. That's how you can always remember and always know, you're right and exact. Domicile. This root is dom. Domus, it comes from the Latin word domus, which means home. Versus residence. A residence is just where you lay your head. But that's not your home. Residence is de facto language. So now you're getting these things in the mail and they're identifying you as a DC or Virginia or Fairfax or Montgomery or PG County resident. The first thing you do is respond and rebut that. You are not a resident. You do not have a residence in a corporate. It's not even a place. You do not have a residence in a corporation, right? You domicile. Now, who can tell me where do you think we domicile? What would we say? Where would we say we domicile? Absolutely, but if we want to say it as a nation, we're sovereigns as a nation. Northwest Mexico, absolutely. What else could we say? Territory, because it implies land, absolutely. So what would be the name of the territory? So she said Northwest Mexico.
Depending on where you are, because you can also break down those territories in the states and republics.
So where would you say if you domiciled right here? Like
you're in the United States right now. This is the United States.
Okay, respond to that. I see you shake your head.
Yeah, I was saying that has to be clarified for the United States corporation.
Can I erase this? Are you still writing? You done? Okay. Let's just think about what you said. I like that you said territory. Because next time we are going to bring some dictionary. Not next time, but I would say in the next 3 weeks, please try to have a dictionary. Then we could all be looking it up together. Since I just have one, if somebody wants to be the dictionary person, they can verify everything we're saying. So I would look up the word territory, right? And then when you look it up, what's the first thing you're going to do? Correct, and then what's second? Right, the brackets, which are at the bottom of the entry. Okay. But while he's doing that, how many other words can we think of that have T-E-R-R?
Can I clarify why I said that? At least make a little disclaimer why I said territory, because we have a contract more as with the Republic. The Republic has a contract with the corporation. We have a contract with the Republic. And since we have a contract with the Republic, that brings us back to a couple more contracts, supremacy clause and treaties. That's why I said territory.
And I'm not debating that.
No, I said that's why I'm clarifying. I'm going to put a little disclaimer.
Gotcha. What other words have T-E-R-R in it?
Terrible.
Terrible? Okay, I'm going to put that on this side. Because that actually has a different root. But I'm glad you said it. What else? What does ET stand for? Like the movie, ET. Okay. Extraterrestrial. You can also say the terrain. Terra will go over here. You could also say terrace. All those have the same root. So what do you think the root is? What do they all have in common? T-E-R-R-I or T-E-R-R-A. Or even E. Because the vowels can switch out. That's why, side note, M-A-R is also M-O-O-R. And M-A-R as a root means water, like in marine, right? But that historically applies to Moors because we ruled the 7 seas. So you can change out the vowels and maintain similar meanings of words, and that's called a blout. A blout. When you change, like if I went from run to ran, that's a blout. Okay. But I'm digressing. So T-E-R-R-A, T-E-R-R-A, T-E-R-R-E. Okay. Did you find it? Okay, what does it say in the, first of all, what part of speech is territory?
Now,
Good.
and I don't know how to use Middle English from Latin territory, terror, meaning earth.
Earth. So it means, it refers to land. Earth or land. Now, let's go back to what the question was. If I said that I domicile right here, what territory do I domicile on? If I said the United States, why would that be incorrect?
But it doesn't, it's only mention particular land.
Right. The United States doesn't indicate a landmass.
We say North American continent.
You can say North America, Northwest of Mexico, North America, absolutely. Almaroc.
Could we say, if here, you take a look,
Oh, I know where you're about to go with it. Yes, go ahead.
Constantine,
Yes, you can say that too. And that's what I really want.
this is Anacostia.
Yeah, this is the land of the Nakpachon. But the English version of it is Anacostia.
There you go.
And then they just made like one little section where we live, right?
Right.
And then the river, and that's all we got.
That's a
When this
reservation.
whole land is Anacostia. And if
But
you're
you can
in,
say that because that's not the chunk.
you can say Anacostia, you'd be closer than you would be saying DC. You know what I mean? So you can say Anacostia.
Which is district. Can you go into that one word?
District?
Yes. Which is the
Sure.
district, right?
Sure.
We can work it now.
But now, are there any questions on this? I do want to go to what you said first before I go into district.
Okay.
I like that you said Anacostia or Nakpachon. So let's talk about writing writs, right? Like when so I'm always going to use my car as an example, my conveyance rather, as an example, because that's just a real life thing I'm currently going through. And so when they said that I was violating laws by parking on DC streets and not moving it, every Tuesday or Thursday morning, or I didn't move it after 2 hours, it might be 2 hours or 30 minutes, they give you a ticket because they said I was parking on DC property. Well, DC is not a territory. You get what I'm saying?
Is the car registered?
Yes, but that's a whole, I know. But I registered my car before
I'm sorry, anytime it's over, they've got jurisdiction over you, on your vehicle, not you.
But the key is, even if that's the case, you still want to make your claim. You still always put something in writing. So that's why I'm saying, it's not 100% about trying to get my conveyance back and all that stuff. It's about putting on the record what you did was fraudulent.
You know what happens is now, what happens right now, and you just that little thing with you, they are challenging your mistake. It always goes back to that. I don't care because I was in there 120 days with 6 judges on a $5 sticker on my buddy's car. Okay? They're challenging at all times your mistake, your sovereignty at all times.
Absolutely.
It will not stop.
Absolutely.
So you're not going in there talking about your parking ticket. You're going in there challenging them because they have no authority to speak to you.
Absolutely. I concur with that. But you have to address everything in the proper manner. You can't go up in there and be like, I'm a DC resident and this is my right. You don't have any rights.
Then you're going to jail. Because they're not going to let you go in there anyway like that. You're going to be taking a mouthpiece in there. You're going to jail.
So point being that when specific. Northwest New Mexico, Alma Rock. You can put all of it on there, really. That's what Todd does. He'll put like the slash, he'll put it all on there. And what I'm encouraging us to do is get even more specific and know the names of the areas in which we domicile from the indigenous name. So knowing that this is Anacostia or Nakpachon, you can put that in your wrist, because that's what I do. Or if I'm in so-called Virginia, depending on where I am, I say Doeg, the Doeg territory. If I'm in Maryland, I say, I always pronounce it wrong, so I'm just going, yeah. I always pronounce it wrong, so I'm just going to put it up on the board. Some people say Piscataway. Sometimes I feel like that's the English way to say it. Piscataway, whatever. You write it down right now. That's what we're focused on. And that would be for so-called Maryland. So, that's what we really covered last class, is being specific to the terminology.
That word, y'all use PIS, correct? Y'all see the PIS first.
This is the English version of the word.
I get it, but what happens with me when I see things, I see them all different. But I see pi is a formula. Then I see the rest.
Right.
That's just how I see it.
But I wouldn't define it that way. Maybe what you're saying is your eyes break it up that way automatically. However, that wouldn't be an appropriate way to define it, because pi is a Greek term, and this term comes from indigenous Americans. So they're in two completely different families of language. In fact, let me see that dictionary.
That's actually the way they spell it?
No, that's the English version.
That's why I guess I see pi in there.
So, remember, this is the Indo-European family of language. But indigenous American words, they have their own family of language. And so this, you won't see Cherokee, you won't see Lenape, you won't see any of those languages on here. So you can't just make the leap, like this language in American Indian, American indigenous terms means. So we have some documents today that I want to look at. And the first one I'm going to just point out for you all to kind of look at. This is the Divine Constitution and Bylaws. So now this is 7 articles. I think it's, 7 acts. I think it's important to note you got 7 acts. Last week he did the Kabbalion, and those are your Hermetic or universal principles or laws. And there were 7 of them. How many articles are there? In the Constitution? 7. So circle 7. Exactly what this is. So I invite you all to look through the Divine Constitution and Bylaws. On the following page, which I didn't read, kind of on purpose, because I want to look into this one and another. There's actually a lot. By a lot, I mean like maybe 3 or 4 warnings, divine warnings that the prophet left. This was the one that I've been reading at each meeting, so we'll look at it now, just because you have it in front of you.
You do that now, right?
Yes. Prophet warns all Muslims. Governors ordered to read proclamation at each meeting, January 15th, 1929. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical, agitating speeches while at work or in the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement. What's the divine covenant of the Moorish movement? I'll give you a hint. You have it. That's one of them. This one.
You are about to
Oh yeah, the bylaws and the Constitution. We are to enforce these, but also the the USA Constitution. We have to
That's why
enforce
you
both.
have that, when you said citizen,
Uh-huh.
kind of like you think you're gonna put over the stump here, because the only true citizen that's born in that court will law will be you.
Indeed.
That's it. There's no more. You have to be, to go up there and uphold the prophet's law. If you go in there upholding the law of Muhammad, you come out of there upholding the law of Moses Ali. It's just plain and simple. And I prove that. So you have to. You have to. And I'll tell you how to get out of your skills in there. It's like that. It's simple. So simple. Once you do what you're saying, you have to. Richard knows that.
So, so if people are violating the Constitution and bylaws, if people are holding malicious feelings towards the temple, if they do those things, Islam, they will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. So there you see reward, and you're like, what's the connotation of reward? The connotation. Here you go. So when I say connotation, that would be like your everyday understanding of reward. What is that?
A treat or a stipend.
Prize.
Good, a prize. It has a positive connotation on it, right? But reward is just what you get in response to what you do. Okay? So you'll receive your reward, in this sense, a negative from Allah for their unjust deed. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. The law that was laid down to us by our prophet, again, it comes from here. It comes from the Circle 7 Quran. It comes from the 101s. So those are all things that we have to be studying to be right and exact with the laws that the prophet laid for us.
Now, going back to the 101s, do you really know what's on the back of those 101s? Because of the contracts.
Yes. I haven't gotten there with them yet, because I don't even have the 101s with me. So when I get a copy, we'll get into that. Because I want everybody to have a copy of everything.
That's exactly how you get yourself to the bank.
Pardon?
That's exactly how you get to the bank.
To the bank?
It's explaining to you your land mandate and what the prophet said were rich, were millionaires, and nobody's talking about that part. And that's how you get into the bank. You have 101s and little child's booklet, and it explains all how to get into that bank.
The literal bank.
That 101s, that's what I found in there. Those Negro Moors of Temple 71s.
Oh yeah. 71 and 52.
They gave me enough information that I'm just a breath away from that.
You go to Temple now? Is that located in southeast?
All of them are corrupt. Temple one's corrupt. They got the dummy boards that bring the idiots out of prison to that temple before they get boosted up to Temple 71.
And all that comes from the Great Schism, which I will address as a completely separate lesson. But yes, we talked about it a little bit in the beginning, and so I told them we read this because this directly pertains to what they call dirty Moors. So we put it on the record where we stand versus where they stand, because they're not teaching any of this.
Well, they don't stand on that, and they shut me down over there.
Well, we know that. We know they don't.
Lawsuit, and then they were going to try to jump on me. Now they need to stop that little sissy action.
But we don't deal with them because we already know that they're corrupt from jump.
You said that was Temple 71?
Yeah, the one over there by Webster Street.
Okay.
Now, the prophet said that eventually you will have more than a walk in with the eyes wide open.
There you go.
Now, how can we enforce that going into these temples that have been brought up by these businesses?
They're removing them from their seat, right?
Correct.
Moving them from their seat.
It's exactly what I'm talking about. Because I think that they all know for a while.
And why don't they know the federal
Because
code?
you know what it is? I personally think, and I said this earlier, that I don't think it's going to be one person who's going to go up in the temple and be like, I'm turning all this around. It has to be a collective body.
Right, and it starts right here. It starts right here.
Here, or the other classes that
Let me speak on that just for a hot second, because that's exactly what I did.
But you went alone.
No, I had Jose and I had Richard. You know Big Richard, Percy Richard now. Moorish Richard here. I had them sandwiched in between me because y'all telling them physically coming after me. Because why? None of them dumbass Negroes know anything up in there. And
We
they
know
just
that.
leave it that way, and I couldn't believe it. Now at that point, now they're having a very, very bad whatever against me. So my little homework from father tells me, you have don't go back in now. Too hard. Don't go back in. If there's any more problems, call him. Look, understand this. I've got 24 Moors that want to go to the temple to learn. I am
But if you can't learn anything from that temple, why do they want to go there?
Where are you going to tell them? That's what they're asking me. Because they want to get nationalized, but I tell them.
Bring him here, brother.
Bring them here. This is a temple.
Yeah, bring
This is
him
the
here.
Holy Moorish Temple of Science.
Now, this is
Not incorporated.
This is exactly what I'm
There
telling
you go.
them. Since everyone I meet is on the streets. Everything I have, everybody's drug addicts, thieves, liars, etc. These are my friends. Now they want to be nationalized. Now from there, all I've ever able to tell them to do, what I did myself, because they want to give you this little card, call you a brother. And those Masons own that card in the courts, in the church courts. They own that card. They own those temples. Those temples aren't sanctioned out of Chicago, or everything's supposed to be the real deal.
Well, there are no legitimate temples for real.
Here,
That's why.
exactly, they're owned by the Masons.
That's why I'm saying you don't have to nationalize through a temple. That's number one.
I told them how to go do this, and then from there, I'll show you my paperwork.
Right.
Now we're in those sports fighting. We're fighting at what I guess the prophet says is loyal ones. We ain't no temple brothers. Now from there, we may not be real good on our economic, quite effective in shutting down that magistrate. Because like I tell them all, please do it. I'm going to prove to you without a shadow of a doubt, I was Richie was here. I'm going to make all the colored people disappear, and then it's going to be me and you. And then I'm going to make certain you don't go anywhere. But after I do this, you cannot find their bonds. Any argument we have starts with bonding, wording, information, because now you're to add up your money.
Oh, you want to hear something funny?
That's all you talk
With
about.
the bond, why did DPW and DMV make one up? They just, because I have been requesting it over and over. They just made something
They
up.
don't want
It doesn't matter. Tell them now they gotta give it to you, show it to you, cost them $1 million.
Because you know what a bond is. You know what a
Bond's
bond is the same as insurance.
Yes.
That's what bond is. So when I requested it, they sent me some BS of. They said they were self-insured and their self-insurance number.
Against the law.
Look, and their self.
Let's go to court. Let's go to court.
I told you I'm in the process of drafting up what I need to draft up because it took them forever to send that to me. They wouldn't send that to me at first because I kept sending them stuff. They wouldn't respond. Then the Freedom of Information Act officer, she is the only one that made the DPW and DMV agents respond because I sent things in via mail, right? But she didn't respond to what I sent in mail. I spoke to her on the phone though, and she responded on the phone, and she admitted that there were no Article 3 sanctioned courts in DC. She admitted that on the phone. But she wasn't going to put none of that in writing. So what happened was the Freedom of Information Act officer kind of forced her hand and made her respond. And so, like I said, I never intended to get this deep into the situation. I just brought it up. But I'll tell you, the last thing that she said, they gave me that little fake self-insurance crap, and then, which was part of last week's lesson, she tried to tell me that the Clearfield Doctrine did not apply because they are not dealing with commercial paper. But you're requesting Federal Reserve notes from me. That is commercial paper. So, but that was the argument she was trying to avoid, and like I said, the FOIA officer forced her hand. So I'm right at that point where it's like, gotta push. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm at right now.
That's like somebody stealing your jacket, and you see them with your jacket, and you approach them about the jacket, and say, that's my jacket, brother. No, it's not your jacket, I got this from the store. Okay, I got my receipt right here that says that's my jacket. but he's still telling you that it's my jacket.
So now you got
Well, hold on. We gotta speak remedy at all times. We must speak remedy. Now, what gets me is this. No one's asking for any ID. Their ID is gonna stop what you're talking about. Their ID is gonna now put you always in the millions. Why? Because on hours. You see, they ask for ID. And you have diplomatic communities. And then on your ID, federal venue has to be the right one. And then on your ID, you're 667 more. Then you're racist 463 Asiatic. So now they're in triple fucking trouble, right? Because now I don't even have to go into the Moorish national thing. I'm the Moor. Well, that just cost you $1 million per sentence because their bonding says it. You got to show it to them. They got pictures of it. Now let's go to court. Well, you always speak bonding in everything you do. Every word comes out of your mouth must be bonding. Bonding is what gets you there. The only people that can speak bonding must be at Moor. If you're not a Moor, get out of here.
You know what I
You're
like?
just nothing but a dumbass nigga.
You know what I like about this?
Oh, I'm sorry, because I didn't want to roll around with somebody calling me brother David.
No. What I like is that, you know, nowadays you got all these package selling Moors, and they want to sell you different kind of IDs and woo woo woo. Do you see how simple this is? Just as effective. It got.
There's my identification on one side, my nationality on
Thank
the
you.
other.
I was about to say.
I got 2 on 1. You want to flip that, baby?
Well, he actually has the nationality on both sides. So.
I use the other my ID that identifies more.
Do you mind if I pass this?
I don't care, because now the only venue for me is federal venue. So what the hell am I doing as de facto court? You stay there. Because now you're trying to tell me with that fake ass banner with the fringe around it that makes everybody sovereign in C. Now we're in the C court. We're in the church court. Now, church black codes are in there, so now we're talking about genocide, human trafficking, bondage.
So
Stay in court.
why?
And I'm gonna tell you something else. You don't go call me that. My honor. Your name is Jared.
So why do we go in there?
Wait.
Because they will come after you with their dogs, with their chains, their guns, with their fancy cars. You bring it. I'm not running anywhere. Where am I going to run? This is my inheritance. I got nowhere to run.
Since you got that on the record, they will not come after you with no.
There's no record. Now that goes up to $350,000.
Right.
There's no record. Now tell you that.
Right.
And what I'm talking, my man, with the big balls, I'm getting you. Now that's on the record. I'm on the record.
Right.
There's no reason to not be yourself. Because they don't respect you and this crap that they're not going to have you embarrass the magistrate. Does that even, that's bullshit. They don't care about you, you don't care about them, because we're going to be at a disagreement. And anybody else that can't take that in there, stay home. Go to jail. They will put you there, more or not, you're going to jail. Because I'll tell you something else. Why do they keep getting me? Find that guy, because I was a gambler for a living. I made a living gambling. I know tales when I see them. He kept calling me Mr. Day, Mr. What does this guy keep calling me Mr.? I'm in his jurisdiction. I gave back everything European. But if you don't object to Mr., because then it hit me like a ton of bricks. And it was kind of funny because I said, back to him, I'm a noble by inheritance. And because of my knowledge, I'm a noble. I gave you back that Mr. Don't ever call me that again. No more court after I do what I said. The writs are very important. How you speak them, talk them, put them in there. And then make sure you have criminal malfeasance. Make sure you have your obligation in there. And you will not be going back to court, because I just sued my way into court. He's got $8 million standing, I got 4. You will not be going back, but they have to see you. They cannot do that now. But they can see you coming in. Always jurisdiction. Your status is on the record. They can't get by your status. They'll walk right over that. Jurisdiction. They can never get by jurisdiction. It cannot happen. Each one of these costs can cost them millions. If you start adding them up, it's easy after that. It's very easy. Then you become a marked person here. Because now, you're very, very last. Are we all Moors in here? Because now we have a key. You're sovereign. Up to that point, you're not sovereign. You'll never be sovereign. Because the prophet hasn't adopted you. You haven't given him back the slave straw man. That way you don't have any more problems with it. Because now you can finally say the key term. And that's what they hate, because at noble they haven't, as you well know in the lodge. If there's nobody other than Moor, you're punishable like that. Now, It's real easy because you're a sovereign member, because you're interested by the profit up there. You're a sovereign member of a political body politic corporate or Science Temple of America. And only the profit gives you that. That's on my paperwork. And at that point, court is over. Give your thanks to the prophet. Me, I'm really a cult. So at that point, I don't give a shit about the Circle 7, just the cult that you see Drew Ali do. The moon and Saturn. He doesn't ever away from that. And that's what I did in there, and I proved to him. He's no longer the Magi in our Circle 7. Magi is subject. Read it carefully, because you don't want to go in there without mastering that part. Because if not, you go to jail. They threaten me, take me physically, and put me back there. I have a secret case. Anybody ever hear of a secret case?
No,
See, I have a secret case. If you ever want to be not hassled on the streets, CTF 0003 down the knee going in front of me. I'm a
Say that code again, brother.
I'm sitting there.
Say the code again. Who was that code again?
My case is on there. CTF 000349. David lay loose dead. Lay loose. Luciferian.
Got you covered.
Dead. My little sister's little title. The modern mankind. Moran.
Now your remedy, what is your remedy in the cases that you are dealing with?
Here you go, man. It's easy. You're speaking bond. You're speaking bond. The remedy is your bond. Your bond's bigger. As you speak law, bond. You're writing it in there. Because remedy is, you didn't uphold that oath. That's $1 million to you. Your bond's worth $1 million. I know you can't cover it. You owe me 5.
So your bond is worth $1 million?
No, theirs is.
Oh, there.
That yours is worth. Where's my security agreement? You got a security agreement? Where's my security agreement? Anybody here got a security agreement?
Well, I think part of our goal, because
This is what now put us in that courtroom, and I'll tell you another thing that cost me $1 million. What they do to me when they kicked me out of yours? I was consummate. I don't know anything about being consummate. I just know what. But I scared the shit out of them that day. 4, wait, was it 4? I had 2 behind me and 2 in front of me. See, I'm a very, very important guy. I got 2 sheriffs here and 2 here. They kicked me out of the courtroom with my special people letting me out. But you think that was good enough? Then what do? These big brothers, they take me out of the court building. Now, when I go to court, nobody comes in before me, nobody leaves. I thought, now I get a little like, I'm just my own homeboy here. There's not nobody but Richie with me, and he doesn't know shit. And you tell me where's this all there, and where is it going to help me? Now, let's get to what really helps me. Because remember, we better know our law going in there. And again, for real, I grew up in the Chicago territory. I was birthed across the so-called American borders. I'm from Central America. They don't know shit. They think I'm the brother. We're gonna stop that. Here you go. Let me show you what that looks like. By the way, I was homeless doing all this. I picked up 3 houses. He's got one, Richie has one, I have one. I'm doing this with Taj Thomas. Exactly with Taj Thomas. Security agreement right there, brother. Now I own that straw man. Noble Drew Ali will own you next, because I don't want to be using them anymore. But you turn the page, and your bond, what they tell you, Moors, you're rich, tied in now, there you go. You see that figure? They don't own that. We own that. I don't want to take this into court. I never took this into court. I only took one thing. I'm from the streets. I'm a Moor into court. Nothing else. This right here is what they want to throw me in that damn security prison for 20 years when I start doing this.
Or they go down fidelity bond, right? Not your name. Not like I want to look that up.
Man, now that when you can look up your fidelity bond and your T-bond on Wall Street, and there's got a European who's your accountant on this, they don't let you get there anymore. Good luck. I'm probably one of the last people that did it. But I know Taj would know. And I know Dante knows.
But Taj will not teach people how to do these things until he feels you have.
Man, you should be sharp. You should be able to go in that courtroom and defend yourself and pull your gun out and use it. That's what you should be doing next.
You can't go in there with blanks though. You gotta have actual ammo. So you gotta.
Brother, I went in there with cannons and came out still hurt. They beat me down. And wait a minute now. Let's get to the fun part. They got 3 PhD psychiatrists waiting on you. 3 of them. They ain't gonna let you get by one. I blew through 3 of them like they was my sisters. So. Just remind them at all times. Just remind them who their grandmama is. Don't ever let them forget it. When you put your foot on their neck, you never let up. That's when the prophet said, enforce it. And I'm trying to tell you something. Them colored people there to do one thing: put your ass in prison. And you're gonna find nothing but Masons in there.
Well, let's give it up for that brother.
These are all for us. These are all for us. Jose's got $100 million in there. We won't stop. It's all for us. It's for us. Don't back down. It's what the Queen Bala taught us years back when I taught them. Just listen to that woman real quick. Don't back down. I was threatened by 90 days in the damn 90 days in crazy house. They do everything in their power, and they even had me shaking for a minute. They're going to take me in with the crazy people. Don't believe it. Don't back down. But I'm way better this time. I'm way better.
Thank you, brother.
Way
Continue,
so
sis.
much.
Go ahead, continue.
And also, days can't go into court. Excuse me, into the bank. This is my lower self. You look on that 101 and you'll find out that no Drew Ali at the bottom line was Drew Ali, this lower self. You look up above, that's no Drew Ali. I'm going in the dead. On the L's and Bays, I'm going to that bank. This is my lower self. The days where the Cambodians and everybody else would eat people, shoot people, killing people, 778s. In the hours, they sold out. Ali can't even get himself to the bank. L's and Bays. L's, write the law, Bays, enforcement. Governance. Just that simple. I just want y'all to know, today, you maybe see me next time, it's David L. That's just the fact of it. I'm in my lower self, and I'm an extremely bad person right now. That's good for me when I go up in there, because I see nothing but afraid Negroes. When do we get the fist pumping? We got these black people thinking that somebody who was up in there telling the judge off and this and that. I don't want no Negroes in my court. I don't mind just telling me and them. That's what this is about. And each of these lawyers that came in or go in there, they're worth $1 million to you. If they do anything else to sit there, because they cannot practice law. Look at the word attorney. Look at the word lawyer. They cannot practice anything on the Constitution. So they're there just one thing, to live your ass there, and you pay for that. It's a 3-piece buyout. Just that simple. Now, what I do is I go there and I start exposing it because it's slavery and it hurts. And I'm like,
You can leave it, yeah, it's for people.
so at that point, what we know that we're really needing, Obama signed in 2010, that drip back. He signed, I need paperwork. I no one will let me find and get the paperwork. There's $11 million set aside for each and every one of us to open up a school. I want the paperwork. I found all paperwork with that. Every time I go nowhere without my turkey on. Because Morocco tried to put me in jail. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't like it. It's real simple. It's funny how they're from Morocco and they're not Moors. They're Persian. They come here with a bad attitude. Because of the Moroccan Torah. They own the crown chair, 8th and H. The whole family. Couldn't believe they were telling me. And Ben looks like me. They think I'm a Mauritanian from Africa most of the time. Benny looking like me, he said he couldn't go on the beach because he looks like me. And there was Samir, who looks like Rich, Persian. And I noticed the color difference all of a sudden. The melanin difference, however we want to put it. So here in America, they're not your friends. I want not just saying one. I want to see a whole damn community. And until they really there's a problem with them and these damn Muslim Indians. There's a problem with the Mauritanians, a problem with some of the Chad people in there, et cetera, et cetera. So this cultural thing comes up. And then they want to talk to us like we don't own this land. So all this craziness comes into play. So even when you're talking to these people on a normal thing, if you come out of your brother mode, you just prove them right. Always stand your ground and be a Moor. You have authority over these people at all times. That's what I've just come to grips with at all times. And what you're teaching puts more than in us. That's all it does. It puts more than in us faster. But I listened to you and Taj, etc. before I went to those 6 months. I had the title for 6 months. And they don't. But I looked up everything. That's my whole problem. I want to prove everybody wrong. And in return, you empower yourself. You don't do nothing about it. We say no. Now, what happens, here in the district, you must wear your turban or fez. You must wear that. You must, if you don't, you're going to jail. If you don't, you can't be who you are. If you don't, they don't know who you're any of you three. So you can see her in her headgear, and I don't see any of you. So I don't like fez. I move too much. I gotta have a rag pull over my head with a bead. And therefore you now are able to explain to Muslim girls, because they would like to know what we're teaching and know what's going on. They don't know anything about their exempt bond levy number. They don't know whether birth certificates form why they're birthing in these damn slaves. They don't know how to put one and one together. But I know this, I teach the smart people how to do where the money is. But you can't get to the money unless you know this. Unless what she put on that board, because I tell them again, they're going to ask her to pay those fiduciary fees. I ain't paying goddamn fiduciary fees. You do it. What I told the judge, I ain't paying no $5, I ain't paying $10, I ain't paying shit. You do it. Now that's exactly the wording I use. But I need Richie here because they don't give you any records. I show it to you. Now I'm at least 100 times easier on the cops, am I not? I don't get any more tickets from them. I don't even get hassle. Nothing. Why? Because I want to pay. And 4 of their guys, they're not back in there. They don't do, they do something else. And the park police, the pump police, you can call them anything you want. The prophet said, do not leave any confusion. So you have your wording where you know. That's what I do know. And you word it where you don't leave any confusion. Don't worry about them like you manage your guts anyway. You can be as pretty as you want. You can be as handsome as you want. They don't give a shit about you. You are worth lots of money. Every more that goes in there has to come back, and they're going to give you a piece of paper. The word disposition is going to be on there. See, I got a bad disposition. But what does that word mean in law? Because it's money. Every word you make anybody look up from here on out, tell them after you look that word up, go look at the law. Yeah, definition A, because it only pertains to you. They're only speaking to you. And don't believe that they're not believing that those old words are only using those old words, those ancient words. That's all I heard. And I'll tell you another thing. If they ask you that you need a lawyer, tell them now you're oppressing me some more because that's worth $350,000 to you. Anything they ask you is worth $350,000. Anything. Put your status on the record. First, no one gets by. When they get by over your head, it just costs them $1 million. Now let's go to the $350,000 plan. Just remember that. And never go in there without your thoughts.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that, everybody. Give that brother another round of applause.
I can't emphasize enough.
All right, and we're going to go into. Go ahead, sister.
We're actors, as they call it, or the other word's called troublemakers.
I'm just going to say this before I let Supreme go, and I would appreciate it if I could just finish my whole statement. Is that okay? Okay. I think the premise of this class is, everything that you spoke on. I can't speak for everybody, but for some of us, we're not there yet. So we need I don't know if you know this, but I teach during the day too. Like I'm a teacher. And one thing about teaching, you have to break it down in sizable chunks for the people to be able to, okay, I get this part, now let me build on top of that. So I'm just putting out for the record, that is the premise of this class, is to get some foundations. From there, it's like a big old boulder going down a hill. You're at the top of the hill, it's really hard to push it, so it's not moving very fast, right? But once you get that initial push, which is our foundation, it'll start speeding up and going down the hill quickly and quickly. And that will be us getting the information and becoming adept more quickly and quickly. So I appreciate your demonstrations because it shows where we all will eventually be able to be. We'll be able to stand and speak on that level as well, but it requires us, having a good comprehension of why we do the things that we do. That's
Well, just let me put it to you this way then. I just want to respond to that. Y'all better be there right now. Right now. Because you're going to get a ticket any day. You already got a ticket. So what I'm telling you is right now. Right now. And then from there, you better do what she's saying always. You just do your best. Just do your very, very best. Because it's got to be in reverse now. If you were a child, you can teach the children. We're big people now. And they ain't got no time for us. So the remedy goes in, suck it up, stick to your guns, and don't worry about everything I just said. Because I've never been to court. I went to, I tell you what, I went to, they call it real estate court. And I've been to court. I was up there, didn't even know that was I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't even know that was a judge. She was too good looking to be a judge, so I told her all that. I didn't know I was a judge. And she actually helped me in court. I said, I don't know, this guy had a lawyer. I didn't know sheriff lawyers in those days. It's my first time ever seeing a guy in action. I thought it was cool. But what happened was he called me by a slave name and wants to know help broke loose with me. Now at that point, everybody's just in your boat. I was in your boat. Everybody's going to, I didn't just start out, I didn't know nothing other than I'm the Moor. You're the Moor. You're not going to back off your square. You don't need to know anything but that going into that courtroom. And you stick with it. And you're not going to come out there and look, I got beat up. He got beat up. But you're going to court. You don't get to say, I'm just going to try to do this in segments. I wish they had the time. But you go out there and hit somebody hits you, you're being sued, etc. For one little ticket, you got a driver's license. You got a driver's license, baby. You got a driver's license, baby. All under the jurisdiction of these people. Alright? You gotta know how to fight that. Alright? You have to now know how you are the adhesion of that contract. So what you're saying, don't believe it. Just don't believe it. What you need to believe is what you're teaching, and I believe it. I'm going to take just that little bit I learned, I'm going for it. If somebody tells you this is the key to one of those locks, go see which one it fits. But go do it. Don't be afraid. Don't. I'm telling you, don't. They're afraid of you. Little homegirl named Meta Bay. She was a Moor for 2 damn days. She came to me. They're foreclosing on her mama's house. $275,000 they won. Excuse me, think I didn't come to Taj Bay of looking at things? Tell her to produce the contract and shut the fuck up. She went to court, there was no court. Now where's my money? Rihanna got the song out. Bitch, where's my money? Now I told her, go there and ask for your money. And said, you did they need it. You close out that estate trust account. Where's my money? Where's my settlement? You've got a judicial deed. I want that escrow out. Get your money. You don't have to be afraid. You don't need to know nothing. You're the Moor, aren't you? All you need to know. Go to court. Go there. It's for us. Go there. Don't worry about knowing nothing. Did you know anything? You just knew I was gonna lie. Then I showed you a picture. Whoa. Brother, hold on. Let me let you go. I'm on the streets all the time. I got 20 niggas around me all the time. And I tell them, you're not listening to me today. I'm going to tell you who taught me. They're going to ask you about your background in schooling. Professor Drew taught me. Ta-da.
That's right.
All right? I'll leave that alone.
Study.
All right? Go ahead on. I'm sorry.
No problem, brother. No problem. All right, now everybody got one of these Who's an American paper, right? Let's flip it on over first. Take a quick glance at this revolutionary diplomatic correspondence. Amongst many of the letters that was going back and forth to Morocco, I come across this one from John Adams. We all know about the George Washington letter to the Sultan we know about that, right? Now we know that John Adams had a letter too from 1780. All right, and I'll employ everybody to go into that. We're not going to read that right now, but I want everybody to take that home and look that up and get a better glimpse on that. Because if we can flip to the back, go over to the back, and I think that is page 172, it says, a copy of a French translation of a writing in Arabic the most authentic of those that are written at the court of His Majesty, the Emperor of Morocco. So we know that they've been going back and forth with. You got at the end, it should be no, the second, the first to the last page. Yeah, right there, diplomatic correspondence. Now you can take this home and read over that. And we can take it back to the beginning, to the first page, and we're going to go into this, who is an American. Brother, you are really vocal, so I'm going to ask you to do, you can, partially read, right? You're going to read, right?
Yeah, what do you want me to read?
You got one of these? No more?
Oh, this should be up here.
Man, I'm supposed to have bifocal. Y'all have to excuse me.
Nah, no problem, brother. No problem. You good.
I got old
You
on everybody.
got one, no problem. What we do is we have hands-on in this class, okay? In these classes, we have hands-on. Okay, so can you take it the first paragraph right there, brother? If you did.
Okay.
Who was an American? Very first. Yep. Who's an American?
American, noun, an aboriginal, one of the various colored natives found in American continent by the Europeans. The original application of the name, Webster's 1828 American Dictionary, the English language, 1936, Webster's Unabridged 20th Century Dictionary. The Statue of Liberty is an icon of liberty in America. The statue is manifested in the metal copper. These are the alphabet of that. Copper is the alphabet metal for the planet Venus. The original tongue of the statue underneath the tin is brown, as in a penny. The statue was a gift from the French men, freemen, and is symbolic of a true Almoroccan, I'm American, woman. See definition of American. The American, Almoroccan, woman.
Now, can you pause right there for 1 second, brother, to hold that? Now, did you say something about a woman? Go back to the woman for me, please.
The statue was given to the French man, free man, and princess, is symbolic of the true Almoroccan, American woman. The definition of American. The American Almoroccan woman is the root of the human family root, Homo erectus, unquote. Copper corresponds to the copper-colored natives, Moors, Almorocs, American, the original people. Also, want to put in the word Atacama. Note the correlation of the word Almoroccan and American. The correlation of copper is as follows.
Okay, now we can pause right there for a second, and I'm gonna go into what you see on the back of that. That is 1897 American penny, United States of America penny, copper. And tell me what you see on the back of that. You will take time. Second time you seen that, right? All right.
Yeah.
And that's just referring to the Almoroccan woman. To let you know that women were ahead, or the head of the nation. Okay? Excuse me, my tooth is killing me, I'm sorry, so but I'm gonna get through this now. Everybody get a look at that? All right, I'm gonna go on. According to the biblical divine scriptures, man was manifested in the flesh on the 6th day of creation. See Book of Genesis. The 6th day of the week is Friday, ruled by Venus, Veneris. Veneris and Venus are the same. Veneris means Friday in Latin. And I hope I'm saying that right. Friday is a holy day all over the earth. Copper is the alchemical metal for the planet Venus. 6th-day Veneris Friday. Therefore, it is obvious upon reflection that the copper-colored Native Americans, Al-Moroccans, Moors, are the first people formed in the flesh, and are the Aboriginal and Indigenous people of America, Al-Morocco and Al-Morocco. America is the heartland of civilization on the planet. Thank you, sister. The American, Al-Moroccan people, as defined in Webster's dictionary, are any one of the various copper, and I don't want to say colored, I want to change that up, please, copper tone natives found on the continent by Europeans. The national identity, Moor, comes from Al-Moroccan, which is contemporarily called American. The Americans, Al-Moroccans, copper-toned skin contains tyrosinase, which is a copper-containing enzyme. The ions of this copper-containing enzyme with other natural structures interrelated is the only substance in the body that qualifies as an organic semiconductor through neural network structures that functions to absorb and decode electromagnetic waves. See Ancient Future by Wayne B. Chandler, page 198. Moorish buildings were built with copper tops, roofs, and frames to conduct energy. Some are still seen today in the historic sections of many towns and cities. These correlations are obvious evidence that the true Americans, Al-Moroccans, are the original people manifested in the flesh. Do you have any questions on that, people? Why is the Statue of Liberty green now? Over time and exposure to the element of air, copper oxidizes and turns to patina, which is a pastel green, the color representing the planet Venus.
Yeah, I'm reading.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
I'm reading.
Okay. All right, okay, let's get going. The true light bringer. Notice that in the hand of the Statue of Liberty is a torch, symbolizing light. Thus, the Statue of Liberty is symbolic of the copper-colored or copper-toned Al-Moroccan or American woman and Venus, the light bringer. Unfortunately, many have codified Venus, the light bearer, as Lucifer and have codified Lucifer as some negative entity or in a negative manner. In doing so, they have buried the truth about the woman. Now, pardon me, y'all, let me go back to that because I want to make sure we get a full grasp of that. In doing so, they have buried the truth about the woman and Venus, who rises as the morning star and the evening star. Lucifer, in its original translation into English, literally means light bringing or light bearer. It has Lucifer, that's a noun, Latin, Lucifer, light bringer, lux, lucius, light, and fear, to bear. Oldest bones found are called Lucy. Upon studying the word, at first there was the word, and the word was with God, and the word is God. See Holy Bible, Book of John. One finds that Lucy is light. Therefore, it is clear as to why the oldest bones found on the planet are called Lucy, being obviously the ancient Moabite woman Ruth, or Root, W-O-R-O-T, Root, symbolized by the Statue of Liberty, copper-toned American, Al-Moroccan woman, bearing the light in her right hand. The natural people, anyone of the various color copper-toned natives, are the natural bearers of the light and have an intimate relationship with the planet Venus and the sixth day. I'll tell you what it is. The recent and multiple affirmations of Moors being the Aboriginal and Indigenous people of America, Al-Morocco, which includes North, South, Central, and the adjoining islands, supports the statute and corroborations as set forth herein. Thus, in this era of information that bring moments of knowledge and knowing, know the legend or the ledger, that which is written or to be written, it is incumbent upon Aboriginals to know the heritage and history of civilizations, particularly in the heartland of civilization, Al Morocco, America. And that's coming off of R.V. Bay Publications, all compliments to the university. And again, we're going to take this Adams, I'm going to take this John Adams letter home and read over that. And then the next class, we'll be asking questions on that. And real quick, I want to go back into this, if you don't mind, sister. James Traficant, U.S. bankruptcy speech. Okay? Anyone have? You know have? I think, give me 1 second, because they may have a couple of these, I think. One second, see if I have any extra copies. We'll get some printed out. If not, I'm just going to run over it and then I'm going to pull it up on the internet, okay? I just have this one, but y'all can go over it and, download it at the house or however, and I want to read one more after that. Okay, James Traficant, U.S. bankruptcy speech. The bankruptcy of the United States Congressional Record, March 17, 1993, volume 33, page H 1303. Speaker, Representative James Traficant of Ohio, addressing the House. Mr. Speaker, we are here now in Chapter 11. Can anybody tell me what Chapter 11 is? Chapter 11. But what does it deal with? What does it deal with? Chapter 11.
They take over your finances and put somebody, 11 and 13 are two different things there. Hold on.
They're the same area, but they are two different brackets, but in the same field. 13 and 11. But what they deal with.
One deal with corporation, and one deal with corporation.
But the main purpose of the chapter 11 or 13 is a trust. Trust.
I got you.
That's all it is, a trust. It's dealing with trust. That's all it is, dealing with trust, right? A trustee and trustor. All right? Mr. Speaker, we are here now in Chapter 11. Members of Congress are official trustees presiding over the greatest reorganization of any bankrupt entity in world history, the U.S. government. We are setting forth, hopefully, a blueprint for our future. There are some who say it is a coroner's report that will lead to our demise. It is an established fact that the United States federal government has been dissolved by the Emergency Banking Act of March 9th, 1933. Right? BBA March 9th. BBA Emergency Banking Act. 48 Statute 1, Public Law 89-719, declared by President Roosevelt being bankrupt and insolvent. Can you give me a quick breakdown of the word insolvent for the class?
I don't need that.
We want to give a breakdown on the word insolvent so we can get a better understanding of what insolvent is. We know what bankrupt is, but let's get a better grasp of insolvent.
Well, Solve literally means to loosen. So insolvent means not to loosen.
So you still have a tight grip, right?
Correct.
Okay. So still have a tight hold and strangle grip, right?
In terms of debt.
Yes. Right? Okay. HJR 192, 73rd Congress, M session, okay, just say M session, or in session, June 5th, 1933. Joint resolution to suspend the gold standard and abrogate the gold clause, resolve the sovereign authority of the United States and the official capacities of all United States governmental officers, and departments, and is further evidence that the United States federal government exists today in name only. The receivers of the United States bankruptcy are the international bankers via the United Nations, the World Bank, and the International Monetary Fund, or IMF. All United States offices, officials, and departments are now operating within a de facto status. And what the sister said earlier about de facto, right? It's fiction, right? So they're running a fiction right now. So in actuality, if they're running a fiction, and I go to record something, what am I recording, or why would I record something in a fictitious venue? What would that get me? If I'm filing a writ of habeas corpus in here in the DC or District of Columbia, if I file that and they're de facto, what am I doing?
Habeas corpus has been suspended, so you wasting your ink.
Okay, let's say a writ of
Any kind of
any kind of writ. Let's say any kind of writ. If you file any kind of writ into a de facto system, and a de facto system, something that's made up now, we already know what de facto is, and if you're filing something in a de facto venue,
they have no, they don't have.
will you get remedy?
No, because
But will you get remedy? Will you get remedy?
No.
You can't.
it's five.
You can't.
It's just name.
But it's gonna be hanging, right? Okay, okay. Good. So, you
No.
okay.
I'm a little confused on the file.
Well, to file something literally means to hang, like a filing folder, meaning it doesn't have any action or movement behind it, it just sits there. So that's why we don't file, we record. We put something on the record. Since when you say file it,
Oh, so before you go to court, in other words, you want to go get your paperwork stamped, so that it's in their hands immediately. Is that what we're saying?
No.
we're just saying when you put something on the record, you make it public, right? But when you say the word file, they have no, obligation to do anything with it. Once you say file, they don't have to do nothing.
So the court is, I want to file this document.
They'll file it, they'll just sit there. They'll just sit there.
Pretty much. Now, you say, I want to record this.
Or they'll give you a paper, and on the paper, like you say, I want to put this on the record, they'll give you a document to fill out, and the document will say file on it, and you cross it off, and you put record. So that you,
Or sometimes you may see one paper say recipe.
I think I'm catching on. That.
You will, brother.
Now,
You will.
I'm going to say this now. Let's see where you come from. I'm going to say this. If you file anything then from my understanding, right, do it under our colors. Do everything under our colors. Because there's no such thing when you're describing, you're actually, all I know is either you're suing you. So you're responding as a respondent, and at that point, it's just heaven over hell here now.
Well, when you're going in from the jump, you're already waving your flag already.
Well, hold on. Again, when I went in, so that nobody gets any bad things, they made me one, okay? Because I was a turban. And this turban itself is 50,000 years old, because before that star came on, according to the prophet, it's only 10,000 years old, which I now explain to the damn, and you better do this while you're in the courtroom. Please go down there and look at my other homeboys, those busted over 10,000 years old in front of the Natural Museum, because they have behind them their medallion saying when their business started. Well, my flag and my turban's older than that. So I'm flying my colors.
There you
I
go.
don't own a flag, couldn't afford a flag, I'm homeless, remember? So now I'm going to put on the record. Remember, there's no record.
Right.
They don't believe you existed today in that courtroom. So now you better verbally speak it out. They don't want you talking into that recorder, that microphone. They will turn off their shit on you, period. And they will tell you there will be no record, on the record and for the record.
So when they tell you that, what is your obligation?
They're now writing on your amendments. They're writing
Walk
on
out.
your amendments now. I need your amendments because now I just want to make sure I get paid.
There you go. You leave because once they say that there's nothing being on record.
No, whoa, let me give you the fact. I've tried that bullshit. You're not leaving anywhere. What do you think that, unless you know how to ask that provost marshal, what do you think that trade is going to do?
Well, I got that story for you, bro.
I hope you
And
let
that's
it.
coming from me. You know what I'm saying? Because it's two stories that I had. Yes, bro. I walked out. I had a child support case, and I had one where they pulled me over. District of Columbia pulled me over. I was scrapping metal, and he said I need a driver's license. I don't own a driver's license. It's a fraudulent instrument. You go on YouTube, you can check it out because I put it on there for the nation so everybody can see. But as far as the child support, I was in the tribunal, and she asked me, can I make a payment arrangement? I'm like, no, I'm a national more, and for the record, I want this to be on the record. She's going to tell me that there is not going to be a recording here. I say, okay, thank you, have a good day, and I walk away. No one chased me, no one grabbed me up, snapped me up, threw me against the wall, none of that. Because there's a bunch of intelligence. When you talk to someone, it's your intelligence that they peak. Your intelligent tone, and that's what the prophet said. No one ever tell you tone, right?
Some of that will work in that venue. Another venue is my brother.
But that's the point that I think initially, because this is what I said, the very first one. I mean, it's only been 3, but my point was the problem is that certain things work for some people, certain things don't, certain things work here, certain things don't work there. And to alleviate or eliminate all that, people have to be on an accord. I'm not saying we're going to nationalize the whole city. Like, I don't even have that vision, but I do see that people who are aware and want to stand and act and be the Moors that they know they are, you know, we have to be collective. We don't have to do the exact same thing, no, but we need to be on a similar mindset. And that was my,
let me bring this to your attention. I'm sorry about that, because I'm way on left field here. I'm in front of the senior judges. It's on the 3rd floor. They're all appointed by presidents, some fake-ass presidents, okay? So I'm in a different shell-shock environment. See, they abuse me in that system up there. I was fighting. And you're just going like, everybody else I spoke with, and you can, what you're saying. Because now that's a little more, see, that's way more money in those children towards the state and itself, as opposed to sovereignty, an older guy here in front of the old folks. Because now that's going to resonate. Because there's a dynamics behind all of us going into court. And each case, there's a dynamics, because each case is money. Don't ever think it's going to be
that's all it is. And it ain't really money, because there really ain't none of that.
I'm sorry, hold on.
Fiat.
This is what I'm getting at, and I mean this in a nice way. I don't call it money because I need money. I'm wearing a piece, all right? Silver. That's it. We're talking about it now. When we take the gold standard off. That's 29 after the prophet bought in the mandate, 29. So now we have to understand the dynamics behind each person. And you're just explaining one because now you put more of it in there. So the paperwork saying they don't need you back in their courtroom. And that's why I only know how to sue your way in there, and they never want.
Yeah, I never received no summons, anything. Never come back in there. They so-called put a warrant out for that non-year. They put a warrant out for it. Right after they put the warrant out, they pulled me over for the strap and metal. I ran a U-turn or whatever, did a fake U-turn. How can you do an illegal U-turn? Anyway, they pulled me over for that. And right then and there, I supposed to have been so-called arrested because I had a warrant for child support. All that went away once I gave them my nationality papers. Gave my nationality papers, gave them back. I want to see you get your, I would love to see you get your scrap metal to the yard, so, okay, you have a good day. Go on YouTube, you can see. And it'll be there. But I want to get through this. What time is it now? I'm almost 4.
It's 3:50, and I just want to say we should probably end a
Yeah,
little bit because we're rushing.
right now.
Trying to kick us out.
Yeah,
and
we
not
try.
let us come back. So yeah.
We try especially to come down here. Y'all not finished yet?
Yeah, exactly. So,
We almost
I'll
finished.
check
We
the
almost-
time.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, to continue. In the de facto status, in name only under the emergency war powers. With the constitutional republican form of government now dissolved, the receivers of the bankruptcy have adopted a new form of government for the United States. This new form of government is known as a democracy.
Yeah, I'm glad you stopped there. I was going to ask you to stop there.
He was. That's a cheat.
People think like
Republican.
democracy, yeah, like if you put it on two sides,
Okay, like,
you know what I'm saying? How we do it before.
So it's a demo or the repub or how you
Oh, you can do it that way too, demo. Right.
Democracy and slavery.
Yeah, we just tell democracy slavery.
Oh, pardon me?
I said democracy is slavery, the republic is colonial.
All right.
Right, indeed. Now why?
All right.
Why? I said why? I mean, I know why. I'm asking the class why. Why is this democracy slavery and why is republic colonial?
The corporation owns those instruments you have, so therefore you're under their jurisdiction, democracy. Republic, form of government, says part of you don't need those instruments, it's free.
But why? I'm talking about the terminology.
Oh, terminology.
Because again, we're memorizing. That's what I'm saying the problem is. We're memorizing information that people are, that you know, people have researched in the past, and they've put it online, and they've written books. We're memorizing. And it's not to say that's not okay, but I'm just saying on top of that, let's get underneath and see why democracy is slavery.
Okay, that's priest rule, demos.
Pardon?
Well, I always was, I'm always thinking about the law. Democracy is priest rule. Someone's ruling you now, priest. Now, that's why everyone's on these contracts. With the republic, the loyal form of government, you're going on with common law, nature law going in there. Only person over you is your creator.
Republic is representative. That's why it's a loyal. And that's why it would be considered the de jure. Because republic is representational. Because public is the people. So it's like you're presenting the views of a collective body versus a democracy is mob rule. That's literally what it means. Crassi's rule, demos is the people. It's a mob of people ruling. So now, which one is going to yield a better effect? Which one is an actual governmental system that our ancestors established? Our ancestors didn't establish no mob rule. If we want to be honoring our forefathers and foremothers, we have to be in a republic because that's what they established.
Can I add one more here?
It's not.
Dictator. Because a democracy is ran by a president who was a dictator. One. That's a democracy. A democracy is a dictatorship. We even had one of the presidents say that himself. Bush Jr. I don't know if y'all seen that in one of his speeches, but he said, if this was a democracy, hey, I would want to be the leader, and I would be the dictator. And anybody can look that up online. But democracy is ruled by one, as opposed to the republic. Did you know if how would we say, who is the boss of the president? Who's the president's boss?
Black Pope.
That too, but on this side.
In fact, Black Pope.
But here on this
That's
side.
the Archdiocese in Chicago. That's the guy who runs the shots.
But for the family that's that's not so versed as you are, what do they think that the boss of the president or supposed to be? Who's supposed to be the president?
People are supposed to be.
The people, Congress. Because you got to go through Congress and through Congress, right?
People believe that still.
Through Congress. But with democracy, well,
can I read this?
Yes, please.
From Black's Law
yes,
Dictionary.
please, yes. So we know, yes.
Because we've said like 3 different definitions of democracy, and that's what I keep trying to say. I'm not trying to have that anymore in the movement. We need to all know one definition, so that if I go up in there, you go up in there, you go up citizens as distinguished from a monarchy, which would be more akin to a dictatorship, aristocracy, or oligarchy. According to the theory of a pure democracy, every citizen should participate directly in the business of government, and the legislative assembly should comprise the whole people, but the ultimate lodgment of the sovereignty being the distinguishing feature, the introduction of the representative system does not remove a government from this type. In other words, a democracy is in direct opposition to a representative system of government, which again, this is indigenous. This is aboriginal. So we talk about remorse. What does the prophet say we need to do? We need to get back to the mindset and the ways of our ancient mothers and fathers. That's higher than any law, any act. You know what I mean? That's what we're trying to get to. It ain't about I'm trying to beat the court, I'm trying to do this. That's a part of it, but the highest principle is being in alignment with your forefathers and your foremothers. That's what we're attempting to do.
I'm glad you said beat court. You're never going to beat court. You are the law.
I didn't.
No. I just want to make sure everybody resonates that. Because you're going to beat court every time.
Well, technically, ain't no real court, so you can't
That
really
is
beat
correct.
that either.
But you're going to beat it every time because we all know it's de facto. You walk in, it's de facto.
Right. I'm not saying that you cannot. I said that's not our ultimate. That's not, like, if you say you win your case, you're not done as a Moor. That's all I'm saying. It's time that we have to stop trying to do these things as individuals, and then you think, we're talking about, people want to do businesses and schools and all this stuff, but then they're going to do it on their own? That doesn't make sense. So we have to come together as a collective body. That's all I'm trying to say. We have to come together as a collective body. And to me, the highest principle behind that will be us all achieving to ascend to the level that our ancient foremothers and forefathers were. And this is a part of it. Absolutely. There's other parts too. The food, right?
Yes.
Which this brother's going to do a show on.
Yes.
But that's a part of it too. There's indigenous foods that you're supposed to eat.
And I think you were saying something about the Anacostia rice or something that they.
Yeah, the Anacostia actually grew wild rice, which is alkaline. You don't see that growing over there anymore.
No.
So I'm just saying, what did the prophet say that everything's going to come to a screeching halt, right?
Yes.
And then what did he say? When the wheels start turning again, it's going to be in favor of the Moors. Well, if it stopped right now, do you think, as a body, Moors are ready to run a government, to run a nation? Hell no. Excuse me, but hell no. I wouldn't trust nobody to run nothing right now, maybe aside from a few 10 people. And the reality is because we're not knowledgeable. It's because we just follow it. And I'm tired of following after people. Islam, I'm sorry.
Islam, no.
Now, you're finally getting there. You're finally getting there. When you're finally tired, you go stand on the square, and you will just stand on it. If you're tired of taking their shit, you will not lose. You're tired of it. She just said it.
Islam.
Now, when you finally get to her point of view, then get a little angry. Then you go in there and you find out that you kicked their ass for once. You will finally feel the exhilaration of being free. Until you go do that with your oppressors, you'll never be free. Because you'll always, when they turn those lights on, they're making you. When they tell you anything, they're making you. Now, what does it sound like for you to say, we have a contract, let's see your ID so I know the bonding you're to enforce, so that I know that you're trying to put the cufflinks on me? You deserve it.
All right now. I'm gonna finish this up.
You're going back to what you're reading. You're going back to what you're reading.
Okay.
This is key. This is with a grammar too.
Okay.
This new form of government is known as. It didn't say it is a democracy.
Exactly.
It said it's known as a democracy, but it's being an established socialist communist order.
under a new government.
If you don't object to democracy every time you hear it, you're in your jurisdiction.
All right. I want to get through this last paragraph, and I want to go over the law enforcement code of ethics that everybody should have in their wallet or back pocket or whatever. Then we'll have time enough for just, we can chill and talk and ask questions of anything, okay?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea to
That's a
have.
good
I
idea.
think, I want to piggyback up. I think he's right. Maybe we can do the last couple minutes after he goes through what he's going to do as a public forum to where if you have any questions, I really want people to feel vulnerable and ask what they have to ask. And don't feel any kind of way like, oh, should I know this? Should I not? Like, again, that was my goal in creating this because it's just, I'm hearing so many different things from so many different people. It's ridiculous now. People telling me you can naturalize. What the hell? Naturalize?
Oh, they're doing those to the South Americans coming here.
No, they doing that to us up in Baltimore. Yes, Temple 13. So I'm just saying.
Temple 13 they still up on the record?
Oh well, yeah, I don't know if they were anymore, but they were doing that as of a couple months ago.
Yeah, I'm an investigator. I'm a Moorish investigator. I'm a Moorish investigator, so I'm gonna check that 71.
You're a Moorish investigator?
Yes, I'm gonna check
We
that.
need some serious help on finding our money. We need some serious help on finding the bonds.
We're gonna get into that. All right.
And we need to put our class action lawsuit in so you no longer
That's my point.
That's
we need that plan. Why can't we piggyback off on these states?
Because we want to bring all the people up to par, like the sister saying. We want to bring everybody
Why
up to
don't you
do
change shit? Just get us in the game, man. And then by the time they see we're not afraid, they won't be afraid either.
No,
Chickens.
it's not about being afraid, bro. It's about knowing. It's about knowing because we can go out here today.
Let's go find some ones that know.
Right, we can go out here. People who know, we can go out here and handle that. But as far as the brothers and sisters that are not quite up to par, we can bring them along with us.
Where are
But
they?
they're
And guess what?
trained.
And they're gonna go and teach somebody else.
Yes.
That's what did Tosh call it? The 100 monkey theory.
100 monkey
It's
theory.
basically if you're studying, it sends the electrical waves to incite other people to study.
Yes.
And then also through my verbiage, I'm talking. But it has to start with you. You have to get knowledge first and feel comfortable and confident in it. I was not confident in this. About 4 years ago, I was not confident. But when I got pulled over, it was just like, but I had been studying.
Right.
So before then, I had gotten into no issues like that. But once, it was almost like I didn't want to study because I knew once I started studying, I was going to be challenged. But because, it happened and I was like, oh, that's it? So, but I want to put that out to other people as well so they don't feel,
We've done 30 people like that. And at the end of the day, where can we go? Like I said, Dave, where can we go, etc. I'm saying, don't worry about it. I'm working on that. All right? I don't need no 20 years experience. I don't have no 10 years to analyze it and all that bug. Let's go get the funds. Let's go get the property. Let's go get the parcel. Then let's do that. Now I got to set my big ass in and check out. But up to right now, no, I'm gonna be the wheel. And that's what I'm getting at. Where is this paper? Help me. Just find me the paper, drip back, sign the drip back. I will fill out everything in there.
Yeah, I don't subscribe to just fill out paperwork because again,
That's how we start.
but I'm saying that not to just fill it out. I'm saying that you have to be able to read it and know when you're filling out.
No, just give me the paperwork. I can read, but I read different. Just give it to me. I'm not smart, but give it to me.
That's
All right? Because once you give it to me, they gotta face me now.
Okay, do you know that this temple was initially started by brothers and sisters, Brother Grand Sheikh Messiah, Aziz El, and Crystal Gabrielle, right? Up in so-called Delaware, Lenape territory. That's where it started. I didn't start this. I was a member. I still am. Do you know why they're not here?
I'm sorry, the question is, do you know
why they are not here right now and I'm here?
Tell me.
Because they were kidnapped. They were kidnapped for doing taxes, and that's a whole other thing. But they were kidnapped, and they're looking at serious charges, like 10 to 20 years. So I'm just saying, nobody in the temple could go and assist let me just finish. Because we weren't knowledgeable enough. Yeah, we did all the paperwork they told us to do. But now they're locked up, and it's like nobody can help them because we didn't know what to do.
Hold on, now that's why I'm coming. Now I can help you there.
I get that, brother, but you just want.
No, one helped me. I'm in their boat. Because right now, if I didn't have any knowledge, because again, I didn't have any, and I went and picked up 3 cribs. I remember I told you I was homeless. And I picked up 3 cribs. Now, they're trying to give me 3 years on a $5 fiduciary sticker. 3 years. The minute I brought these boys in with me to help me raise some hell, they're going to give me 20 years. Again, I don't want to hear myself talk, but everything they don't teach them, and Tosh teaches them this, there's a 12-step little program, you go through that bank to get these properties, but if you're not speaking in the bond, speak. The European has to speak to you through the bond, speak. If you do not do that, do not know that, do not enforce that, you're going to jail.
Now, what the sister is saying is they have to be taught about the bond. You have to be, and they just can't go in there and say, okay, I want to report this for the bond, I want to see that money we owe. You can't go in there like that. You have to go in there and learn.
What you just said earlier, because I don't want to be bullied or talking.
No.
But you send your paperwork always precedes you.
Yes.
Now, if they didn't read it, that's better for you. Because now, if they don't read it, the people that are in there, because there's a homeboy that's doing just what you're saying, is he'll get you out of jail. He got Rebecca Bay out of jail, whatever her name is. Now, and this is what I'm trying to say. Each and every, I got it in here, man. He did 30 fucking days because they didn't know the clear words on something. Right. But because they didn't check.
Hold on, say it again.
Hold on, say
it again, bro.
You have got to put in every sentence that they have. Each jury, each person on the jury is bonded. Their bonding information must tell them they can do this.
He didn't know that, did he? That's why he got the 30 days, right? He didn't know that, did he?
Now, what happens is this. You got the 30 days. Watch, because he didn't know that.
Right.
Now, what happens is this. Remember when we discussed anyway, de facto, it's fraud? Fraud never goes away.
Right.
Now, your writ comes into play. Your writ of discovery comes into play. Because you do or they
You know this, right? So let's say the next man does it, like the boy didn't know it, he did 30 days. And their whole purpose, their sole purpose right now is to get everybody up to speed and trying to get where you might be right now.
Time out. I got you. Yeah.
Now, if the purpose is to get the next
woke up, vibrate, wake up.
You're there. Now, you can't start at step 7.
Right, start at step 1. Right, you're arrested. You've been arrested. You need arrested.
Before you get arrested,
how about we just deal with the fact, be in school, be children, right? I'm not telling you to go out and start those complex algebraic equations before I teach you 1 + 1 = 2.
No, you know that.
But at the same time, the child doesn't know that. They need to know that part first.
Now hold on, I asked everybody in here, are you Moors? You said yes. There's no children in here.
Oh, wait a minute.
No
You're
more.
born or more, right?
There's no more children now. No, we're not minorities.
If you're born or more, does that mean that you are knowledgeable at law? Just because you were born there.
No, you're not.
Exactly.
Now.
So if the purpose is to be educated, right?
No, wait a minute, bro. You get me wrong.
No, I'm just saying that you might be where you're supposed to be right now, but the rest of us is.
No, wait a minute. I was there with you. No. Wait a minute. I'm still there. I'm still there.
What I'm saying is, we try to get more so on a level where we can navigate on the same way.
And I'm trying to
you gotta respect people's learning
I'm trying to tell you right
process.
now.
But you gotta
You're all
respect
right
people's
there.
all
You
of
don't
them.
need it.
It's not about me believe in anything. I'm just saying to you that right now, this sister and this brother basically trying to convey a little information and being held up with a little time back. You know what I mean? Not knocking. I'm enjoying everything you bring forward. You know what I mean? But at the same time, information is still trying to be given out. You know what I mean? And they're gonna give us all the floor and an opportunity to get who we want to get out. You know what I mean?
Brother, the information will
All I know is you may not see me again, brother. So today is all I got. That's all I got. You may not see me again.
I see what you're saying. You have a point. Everybody has a valid point. Okay, but at the end of the day, you might not see us here anymore.
Yeah, you may not see us.
What he's trying to let you know is that you're on the right track. Okay, now when you get to that point, this is where you will be. Okay, that's all he's trying to get across to you. At the end of the day, he might come across like the way that you get him, or the way that you feel that he's coming across.
Never let you go
He's trying to make sure.
No.
Like I said,
They're very good. They're the best in the business. And now, every little word you gotta suck up on them. Every damn little word. So now I'm trying to tell you, every little word plus theirs is in here. Oh, so you know I'm not bullshit. You see what that secret case? They don't let brothers like me go up in there. They ain't gonna let you roll up in there and know what I know. You think this is just a day. You're gonna learn this. You're gonna fight for what you know. You're gonna fight. You don't have to know anything but what you know. But you're gonna fight for it.
but
That's all I'm saying.
you dealing with one side. Is what you dealing with just specifically grabbing some money that's not even.
Wait. Everybody understand this. You're worth millions of dollars. Now, when you go into this courtroom, don't you ever think that it's not for that. Now, I'm not saying, but don't tell me I'm dealing with money.
That's what you're talking about, right?
Listen, that's the only thing that will free you in that room.
All right, let me go ahead and finish this up, fellas, so we can go ahead and break it down. But this is gonna go into some major points for all of us, so we can all get clarity on what money is.
I'm misusing that word.
I got you. I got you. But we need to know, like the sister said, money, and what money is and what money is not. Okay, not even to go into this no more, because I'm gonna say in about 15 minutes we're gonna open up the floor to everybody. But anybody got a single note on them? Put out a single note. Single note.
We're gonna take the notes, go get currency,
Okay.
cash in the money,
Right, just one.
and buy gold and silver.
There you go, bro. Make sure. Okay, now.
This is how I said it that way.
No.
Ain't not what I'm-
No, we got it. There you go.
33 cents.
Nobody's learning because everybody's talking at once.
We
So I'm
gonna-
gonna do it like in my class. Please just one at a time.
There you go. We're gonna
To be
run
honest,
the
I
floor,
couldn't even hear what nobody was saying if, you know. So let's
I
just do
know.
one at a time, please.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so let's look at the back of that dollar. That's being called a dollar, but we know it's just a note. We see two seals, right? Okay, two seals. Explain what the bird is. Can anyone tell me what that is? Or first tell me what they see under the pyramid. What does that say? Under the pyramid, right under Notice or the Great Seal, right? Now on the other seal over here, what does it say under that bird? Of the United States. And what is of? What is of?
Preposition.
A preposition, right? And what does that mean?
It links to fit
Pertaining
to
everything, right?
concepts.
There you go. Two
It's
concepts,
a
right?
linker.
Now, from what I heard from my brother Cujo L, we just did a show the other night, and we were talking constantly. What I learned from him is the pyramid, right? What does that represent?
That's Moors.
That's Moors, right?
side.
That's Moors, right? The Moors side, right? So that's saying that anybody who think that they built them pyramids, that's your seal, right? You think you built the pyramid? You built the pyramid? You built the pyramid? Right. You built the pyramid, right? All right. So we all know that indigenous people built that pyramid, right? So that is one.
I've seen.
Go ahead, brother.
I've seen these in real life.
Brother,
Not in stone.
Right. But the actual pyramid, right?
To the ground. I've seen them that was cut off at the top.
Brother Al got one question.
Yes, sir. Yes, brother.
Genesis 6:4 in that little Bible.
Mhm.
I guarantee you, we didn't build those pyramids. I guarantee you, when it says the giants were on the earth in those days and in the earth now, I guarantee you, vibration they did.
Are they our ancestors? And then
So
we
they-
did.
they-
There's Anunnaki on the eastern hemisphere, there's Anunnaki on this Western Hemisphere, that's us.
Yeah, so we did.
So you did build the pyramid.
What I'm saying is this, hold on. That's what I'm making a distinction here.
Mhm.
These big people here, they built them.
Right.
The little people like us, we watched. We didn't build them.
Right.
Clarification.
But our big
Yeah.
ancestors
Yeah.
did, but I'm here to say, I didn't do that.
Okay.
And I ain't gonna take any
Now
credit.
let's ask it. Let's do it like this.
Because they won't talk about those giants.
Yeah, they won't. But let's do it like this. Your mother and father built the house.
Yeah,
Built the house from scratch.
got it.
Had children. You, your sister, brother, whatever, right? Can you take credit for them building the house?
I do my best.
Okay. So let's use that analogy with that.
That's what I do, that's why I'm gonna break down those giants.
There you go.
I claim those brothers.
There you go. So if you claim them brothers, right? You claim the
Yeah,
giants.
just what
that
you put
built-
on them hard, M-A-R, that's where they're from.
Mhm. Now, since you claim them and they built the pyramids and you claim them, that's you.
And our ancestors did that.
There you go. So we do come on that, right?
And the ones in Egypt.
Well, let me go ahead and pass these around.
Real money.
And that's a misnomer when we say real money because it's just money. There's no such thing as real. There's no such thing as real money, but it's
Silver and gold is real money.
yes. Well, it's money. It's money. So we have to get the term of real money out of it because that's a misnomer. We say real money, so we take money with us.
I get it.
And if you can look on that nickel, you can tell me what's on that for the Redskins fan. So for the Redskins fan, so yeah. So that's to let you know that even here in Washington D.C., the Redskin emblem should let us know that there was Moors here.
That's what I said.
Library of Congress. Go to Library of Congress, look at the back of the Library of Congress up at the top, and you'll see Moors.
Wait a minute.
You see Moors. Actually, I have pictures on my
I'm
phone.
sorry, I couldn't hear what he said. Can you say that again, brother?
I said, yes, you will see the Moors' heads on the side of the building, and then, correct, you also see the things that's done in front of the library.
Okay.
Yeah, you seen that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually got pictures on my phone, but yeah, I just don't have didn't bring my charger. I apologize, nation. But next time I promise I will bring my my charger. But since we know what money is, I'm gonna read this right fast. It's part of the James chapter. And then I'm gonna do this, and then we're gonna break for the open. Okay. This new form of government is known as a democracy, being an established socialist and communist order under a new governor for America. This act was instituted and established by transferring or placing the office of the Secretary of Treasurer to that of the Governor of the International Monetary Fund. Public Law 94-564, page 8, section HR 13955 reads in part. The U.S. Secretary of Treasury received no compensation for representing the United States, and why? Can anybody tell me why the U.S. Secretary doesn't receive no compensation for representing the United States? All United States offices, officials, and departments are now operating within a de facto status in name only. Can someone tell me why the U.S. Secretary of Treasury receives no compensation for representing the United States?
There's no, I don't know.
And I'm gonna say it again for one more time. You know, there's much
I'm trying to see it in my head.
The U.S. Secretary of Treasury received no compensation for representing the United States. All United States offices, officials, and departments are now operating within a de facto status in name only.
So the second, his position is not real. And that's what I was thinking initially, but I didn't want to wrong.
The
There's no
U.S.
way.
Treasury don't exist.
So how do you compensate someone with no?
With no, so that let us know if the Treasury doesn't have a seat, how could a judge?
Right.
So let me ask, this is a question that I want to pose to everybody, and including.
Yes.
So does that mean then we should be seeking remedy outside of?
Yes. In my opinion, yes.
You get what I'm saying? Like internationally, should we?
We should be sending these up to, we should be sending.
Pardon?
That's 1 week.
You said that's 1 week way?
No, that's where I am weak, because
Yeah.
now you get the judges and everybody else is gonna violate. You're gonna get violated.
Absolutely. I agree.
And the only way you can get these guys, because you're gonna see on what here, what you're gonna read on here, and anywhere else, punishable by death. You don't worry about anything other than punishable by death. It's the only way you get out of your head. Punishable by death. Hell with a fine, hell with trying to find our funds and notes anyway. And hell with any prison sentence because all the monies are there. Punishable by death.
The EWHC,
Yes.
Interpol High Court of,
England.
you write it?
Yeah, I see this. Yeah, I was England.
Can I rewrite it?
Yes.
Someone will let me.
Yes, okay, I write the page.
I know this.
You know what I'm saying?
I just couldn't read it first. EWHC,
EWHC.
They're telling you everything you need to know.
and then it's Islam 6.
And these are some of the places,
And what's the last one?
high schools.
Oh, she's, I thought she left.
No, I think
She stepped out. Okay.
high schools in England. And then
All in the game.
sent to,
That's why I asked.
China?
yes,
Is it China back there?
but it's the China Republic.
Oh, so the China
Republic
Republic.
of China. I should say that.
Okay.
The Republic of China. Because they so-called own part of the company, U.S. company. Okay,
What do you got?
This is good stuff.
this is what I sent my paperwork and all my stuff to. So they are on notice. Okay? And it's
High courts of England.
yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you have your diplomatic badge?
Why?
Say
Because
what?
this is a subsidiary of England, right?
Right.
So, and they,
I
right,
mean, it makes sense to me, but I mean.
Right.
Just,
Right, you know, the queen come over here, and, you know,
Right.
But EWHC, that's England, Wales High Courts. And then, of course, Interpol, International Police, the High Courts of England, and then the Republic of China. China owns 60% of New York. Yes,
60%.
60% of New
yeah.
York.
So then, well, with that,
It used to be just Manhattan. Now it escalated to 60% of New York.
so then would that only apply if you're in so-called New York?
Yes.
So then,
But that means
and
so
this-
the land is
And really, all of it is fraud and de facto. All of it is fraud and de facto.
Right.
Because, you know, of course, the land mandate that the prophet had when he went to the convention, a lot of people get that misconstrued and think that the land mandate was given to the prophet when he got to the convention. The prophet had the mandate when he went down there. That's why he wasn't a U.S. delegate. All right, so we got to get that, make sure that we, yes, you know, America, our rocket. But give a study that this is with the China Republic of China is really one that we really need to send our paperwork to because they're the one who's sending up the blockade right now.
is
They're
there,
sending up the blockade.
I apologize. Is there another nation that we know that owns? Is or is
Yes.
that England
Besides England,
besides England?
yes.
Would it be, no?
Say it.
Oh, the Vatican.
The Vatican.
Yeah, see,
Because the White House pays their rent to who?
Say that again.
The White House rent goes to
The Vatican.
the Vatican. The Vatican.
How that Vatican, now since you talk, everything that Drew Ali did, the Vatican did. So
And
it's
those
our
are
fight
countermeasures.
against them.
And those were countermeasures that they were taking against the prophets, which would not work because why? Tell me why the countermeasures would not work.
What county? Say that again.
The countermeasures, because when the prophet went, you know, Rome was sending out like the Jekyll Island. You know about that story, right? Where they sent out Yeah, Jekyll Island, yeah, that was a countermeasure against the prophet too, but it doesn't work because they were still in de facto. Everything they were doing, they did in de facto, and everything the prophet did was de jure. So that's why a lot of us, a lot of the dirty ones, push this stuff up under there, and
but what you're saying kind of proves even further what I'm trying to say is that you said the prophet already took care of all this,
everything.
right?
Everything.
But we're still in this situation. Why? Because it's not being enforced. So that's where we're at right now.
He said, enforce my law.
Right. We have to enforce.
That's what I've been really trying to say in a nice way.
Yeah. We get you, bro. We definitely get you, bro.
We
We get you, bro. You know what I'm saying? You are feisty. We know you're a good fighter, bro. You know what I'm saying? But there's certain ways that we have to accomplish. No. We have to take
let me say, I truly believe, I truly know there are different ways that Moors are supposed to go into this right now, because like a brother like you or like you, you step out there and then you learn it as you go, and then you bring it back to us. That's what Taj did,
At
right?
my age, I got no choice.
But then everybody is not, I don't see everybody getting beat down or going to court. It's like,
It's easier.
And what you're teaching us, we're going to fine tune it and apply it and do it like this.
And I'm going to tell you something, just believe this. I don't care how much you fine tune, we're all different. It will not work. Fine tuning will not work. You know how
Okay.
All right, have a big class. You have a big class, though. Because what happens in a big class.
We're trying to get there, though. That's the point. Like,
I didn't know to bring these foods. Because they're good ones. These kids are really good. These young men are good young men that just didn't know and they've been beat up on the streets forever, like we all had. But what happens when they see some clean in the game, we're not playing any games here. But when they see the cleanness that we bring to this BS, now they want to uphold it. Why? Because just like the prophet said, they didn't know that was theirs. Now I prove it to them. But I prove it to them from myself included. I'm not interested in, look, I do floors for a living. Where my paycheck, you got to go with you have to go 2 weeks to earn what I make that day. Because I build the whole thing, 10 grand, 15 grand, or to repay. Well, some people got to work all month for that. I choose not to do a damn thing now. Why? Because I already know at the end of this tunnel, you can now take those notes. No, you can take the certificates, because you can take this blank piece of paper and you can now have the ability to make funds, notes. Now, from that blank piece of paper, you have a drug treasury account you take in. You now know what a certificate trust is. Then you got to resolve all that. This is built in because all my buddies are drug addicts. They do drugs, they got sex addictions, they got all the addictions in the world. So this eliminates them. You go stick something up your nose in your arm, you're dead. This eliminates them. This eliminates these people from the game plan. We can't all do it. But I know one thing, I talked to 20 people, there's at least 3 of them that's good that don't need that. We need something that you can now tell that other little brother over there, what you know, when he may have something like what you're telling me. He may be telling you that. And you say, hold on, pal, I've heard this read before. I know these techniques. Y'all done taught me from everything from sedition, which they seen in court, and they know how to use it when the old lady comes there. Are you gonna badmouth an old lady judge? She's 90 years old. I'm not gonna badmouth grandma. What she got for this something better? And I love it how you can go ahead and talk to grandma now. I'm gonna get her some milk and cookies too. But you're gonna pay for my milk and cookies, they cost millions. And I'm gonna get her, I got it on paper, I show it to you.
All right.
Now, no matter what, this is how it happens. You're never going to be prepared. You're never going to be until you go. You got to be in front of it, you got to fight back. Because that's where our power is. Our power is not in a billion of us knowing something. I didn't want Temple 71 going in court with me. Why? They don't know any law. I don't take no Negroes in no court with me. That marshal may come down and ask you to take your fez off. He's only speaking to you.
You won't even call it a fez, they call it a hat.
Call it a hat.
Now, would you take it off?
Nope.
Now we're really going to get into the law. And then we're going to ask him to bring the fucking provost marshal back, or you can come over here talking to us like that.
Provost marshal, all right.
All right.
The second time I heard you say that.
I don't need that.
That's right.
We need, if they've got water, we got water too.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
So
yeah.
therefore, our law is better than theirs still, because he's not obeying the law.
There you go. Well, let me wrap this up right here, because let me give us about 10 minutes to get question and answer. Yeah, question and answer. We won't get it about 10 minutes. But I definitely get, and as long as we can leave here today with the inclination of, we want to build everybody up to where you can go in there and battle by yourself. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole point. We're not going to send you in there with plastic knives. You know what I'm saying? We want to send you in there with a scimitar. Okay, we ain't got time for that no more. You know what I'm saying? We were babies, and all of us were babies. You know what I'm saying? But we have to grow. And you don't be a baby today, and then tomorrow you run a marathon with your boys outside. No, we learn to crawl, then we walk, then we run, and then we get the hell out of Dodge, right? All right. I'm gonna finish this up, and then I'm gonna give us 10 more minutes to open up the floor too. You want to start breaking down around what time?
Absolutely.
All right, and I'm gonna go into this last. Everybody got a copy of the law enforcement ethics, right? You didn't get a copy. All right, do you have 15 cents on you? Okay, we can get you a copy. We'll get you a copy. No, go ahead.
Make $1 copies just so that you have it.
Oh, bless you, brother. I'm gonna run upstairs and get a copy. Thank you, sister. As much as many copies as we can. Matter of fact, this is. I need it for the house. I can finish it. Go ahead.
How many people need a copy of the code,
15 cents.
law enforcement code of ethics? How many? Raise your hand. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we did 3.
Okay.
And you want one.
No, I got the original.
You said you wanted one for the house.
No, I got no.
Okay, so 3.
Okay. And okay, let's go into this. James Traficant speech. It is essential that we comprehend the distinction between money and paper money substitute. One cannot get rich by accumulating money substitutes. One can only get deeper into debt. We, the people, no longer have any money. Most Americans have not been paid any money for a very long time, perhaps not in their entire life. Now, do you comprehend why you feel broke? Now, do you understand why you are bankrupt or why they are bankrupt, along with the rest of the country? Federal Reserve notes, FRNs, are unsigned checks written on a closed account, right? FRNs are an inflatable paper system designed to create debt through inflation, devaluation of currency. Whenever there is an increase of the supply of a money substitute in the economy without a corresponding increase in the gold or silver backing, inflation occurs. Inflation is an invisible form of taxation that irresponsible governments inflict on their citizens. The Federal Reserve Bank, who controls the supply and movement of FRNs, has everybody fooled. They have access to an unlimited supply of FRNs, paying only for the printing cost of what they need. FRNs are nothing more than promissory notes for U.S. Treasury security T-bills, a promise to pay the debt to the Federal Reserve Bank. Now, I'm gonna stop right there. Now, what I just read, how important is that from what I read in the preceding paper of the same speech? I'm gonna say it again. FRNs, hold on, I'm gonna go back. The Federal Reserve Bank, who controls the supply and movement of FRNs, has everybody fooled. They have access to an unlimited supply of FRNs, paying only for the printing cost of what they need. FRNs are nothing more than promissory notes for U.S. Treasury security T-bills, a promise to pay the debt to the Federal Reserve Bank. Now, so, go ahead.
Well, I mean, I get it. I know that the Federal Reserve note is the obligation of the U.S. Treasury, so I know that I can't have it then, because I've never been paid anything that I've ever done.
Exactly.
So, with that being said, I know that at any point, like that was saying, the Federal Reserve just print off gold FRNs just to
Right.
whatever type of need they want to create.
Right,
That's what
right, right.
creating.
Right, anybody else? Right, anybody else?
Okay, what we're really talking about is this. We have a social security number. The IMF owns it. It's worth billions of dollars, millions for you, billions for me. Now what happens? With that IMF, there's a ABC on it. We're going to recode that. Okay, there's 4 major systems in the United States. There's 4 of them. They code these out. They need the business. T-bills worth billions. Your social security number worth billions. Now he just said something about a cash account, closed account. You open up a direct treasury account. You open up now your closed account. That's your cash account. You now can take out as much FNRs as you really need. Brother Elder Chicago says only take out 1,000 a day. Open up minimum 10 accounts. It's your direct treasury account. This is exactly why the prophet says you're rich. He just named it. And then from there, cash account. You have that, and that's what you close. Now from there, there's called a Gerat card. That Gerat card now buys your gold. Because like I said, you take in the notes, exchange that for currency. Currency now will buy you money. Money will now buy you gold. Just that simple. Now, he will also tell you where this happens. This happens in the Netherlands. In Switzerland, the prophet has up there the mandate for us, and then what I said, the credit card, because that is what buys the gold. He has that, and it's set aside for us. Taj has gold. He knows. And again, they can't tell you all this. Why? What you just said. Niggas go out and buy fancy cars and everything else. Never help not grandma over there.
Right.
So they look for somebody to help somebody, us, the Moors. So that's exactly what I'm out to do. So the people that's going to help me get my little paperwork together so I can get it, we'll find out. Because at my age, and I got a board 27, there's a lot of people here in the same boat. They all need help. I want to make sure his age can now go in his cash account. But you just say, that's the prophet left for us. No one wants to talk about that. Can't trust my goddamn niggas around here. That's what happens.
Anybody else? Before I digress. Okay, I was saying, basically, they have access to an unlimited supply of FRNs, paying only for the printing costs. Would they pay them for the printing cost? FRN, right? Now, to get the gist of what I was saying, back here on the first page, you say all United States offices and officials are in a de facto status, including the Treasury Department, right? So if the Treasury Department is fraud, de facto, why should we have Federal Reserve notes? Is Federal Reserve notes valid? Not one Federal Reserve note is valid at all.
Wait a minute, what do you mean by that?
Federal Reserve notes are not valid.
They're checks.
But,
They're signed checks.
but
Those people have qualifications on them.
But listen, if they're signed checks and the account is closed, that's just dead paper.
Time out. But you honor that dead paper because, like I said, there's a check. You take that check and you cash that check. You honor that check.
You say.
No, wait a minute. I never said money.
When you say cash, does that mean to you trade it? You said this earlier. Trade it in for currency. I do.
Well,
remember
you just said
that.
that.
When you say cashless account, your direct treasury account has a cashless account. You close that account so you can get into those Federal Reserve notes.
But the Federal Reserve notes are dead paper.
Why do we need them then? Because again, yes we do.
We don't need them, brother. We don't need Federal Reserve notes only. It's a debt system. So why do you need a debt system?
Because we're using that right now as remedy. Now, we have all we need of those dead notes for remedy, but we don't know how to get them. Now, we
should be dealing in greenbacks, not
please. I'm not ever going to say what we should be or shouldn't be. I'm just saying what's
right
now.
You said that we're dealing with Federal Reserve notes that are dead.
Wait a minute. To deal with greenbacks means it's backed by gold and silver.
Right.
Now, wait a minute. You don't need to prove
You said that one particular word, silver. Write this down. Executive order. Executive order. EO. Everybody write this down. Executive order. 11110. And that was given to us by J.F.K. Sr. And I want y'all to look up that executive order because it is still valid now.
He brought it in. That's right. He brought back in the gold and silver and popped his head off.
And they popped him off for that.
Well, he's not dead, but they did it.
Yeah, that's a, brother, I want to talk to you about that because I got to show you.
John F. Kennedy. Wait a minute. John F. Kennedy, who claimed they shot, is actually Jimmy Carter, who came back again for his second term. Jimmy Carter, president. John F. Kennedy was never shot.
There you go.
Martin Luther King never existed. Tupac and Biggie never existed. Y'all been dumb. Y'all been dumb for being monkeys.
And you say Tupac and Biggie never did it. Right.
And Donald Trump is Joe Biden. Barack Obama's vice president is Donald Trump, Joe Biden, same guy.
All right. I know that's right.
All right,
now did everybody get their ethics? I need to make sure everybody got their oath of ethics. Now you use this for the highwaymen or the judges, so-called judges, which are, what are they called, sister?
Say that again?
What are judges called?
Infiltrate.
There you go. And we can use this against them. We're going to use that against them. And everybody, make sure you look up that executive order 11110. And it is still in effect now because no president or praetor has an order against that or to, how should they say, supersede it. It's still now valid. That right now is valid. We should be dealing in silver notes instead of FRNs. We need to be dealing in silver notes. Or gold notes. He really didn't bring the gold back in because he couldn't bring the gold back in at that time because of the simple fact of the 1933 Bank Act. Meaning that everybody that works in the government were not supposed to have gold. Only the government employees. The people still didn't have their gold. They just went down and trickled down until say it was us, we have to give up our gold too. But yes. Executive Order 11110. JFK Sr. So we're supposed to be dealing in gold right now and silver. Well, actually silver. To continue very fast before we get, I got 2-3 minutes. I'm gonna run this off. Okay. There's a fundamental difference between paying a debt and discharging a debt. To pay a debt, you must pay with value or substance, i.e. gold, silver, barter, or a commodity. With FRNs, you can only discharge a debt. Now, everybody got that, right? Everybody got that. With FRNs, you can only discharge a debt, right? You cannot pay a debt with a debt currency system. You cannot service a debt with a currency that has no backing in value or substance. No contract in common law is valid unless it involves an exchange of good and valuable consideration. Unpayable debt transfers power and control to the sovereign power structure that has no interest in money, law, equity, or justice because they have so much wealth already. It goes down to say, the Federal Reserve System is based on the canon law. Canon law. Canon. He said canon law. All right. And the principles of sovereignty protected in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. In fact, the international bankers use a canon law trust. Write that down, and I want you to investigate that. Canon law trust as their model, adding stock and naming it a joint stock trust. Now, what stock y'all think that they added? What stock was that? There you go. There we go. We got some thinkers. That's what I'm talking about. We got thinkers, y'all. All right. And then
you are the credit.
And then naming it a joint stock trust. The U.S. Congress has passed a law making it illegal for any legal person to duplicate a joint stock trust in 1873. The Federal Reserve Act was legislated post facto to 1870. Do anyone know what a post facto is?
What?
Post facto. And the post facto.
After the faith of Fugazi.
Okay.
After the Fugazi. Fugazi being Italian for faith.
Right. And you want to add to that?
No.
Okay. Yes, that's it, bro. Okay. And although post facto laws are strictly forbidden by the Constitution, so what that let us know right there, along with the Federal Reserve Act, was legislated post facto.
And it's not real.
So that goes back to me saying what I just said 5 minutes ago. FRNs are dead paper.
Sure.
And we're only using it because there you go. You know what I'm saying? There you go. Because that's all.
But if you had the gold and the silver, then what you don't even have to trade the gold and silver. What you do is the gold and silver is the capital.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that is because you use the capital to use the medium of exchange for the capital. So you can actually use greenbacks for the medium of exchange. All right.
Now, wait a minute, here's what I'm getting at now. You're reading the cashless system because, again, it exists, right? Well, we have how do you get, what's the remedy? The remedy is we own the numbers of our accounts and taps into this direct treasury account. You have limitless funds available to you. Because again, if this is your land, you're queens and queens on your own land, you're not supposed to be in any dishonor. Those are the everyday those to keep you out of dishonor. Now from there, what we now talking about earlier with commerce, all right? We need a UCC because that keeps those Europeans, make sure they pay us. Now the UCC and the IRS now are our buddies all of a sudden.
Well,
I
kind of disagree on
Hold
that.
on, because if you IRS are the Queen's accountants, she will repay you, and you will pay. She makes sure that you're paid. It's yours. It's on your land. That's why you're making the difference. It's distinction between the two.
This is what we should do, bro. We should do what the prophet did. When the prophet went to the convention, he went and ordered. Hold on. He went and he didn't ask for FRNs or didn't demand FRNs. He demanded gold.
Wait a minute. Listen carefully. This is 34. Let's back up 5 years. The prophet's still alive.
Right.
In 34, he's gone. He's gone in 29. Then still upholding Republic in 29.
At the
Hold
It's a
on.
slow breakdown.
Hold on.
It wasn't like that.
When the prophet leaves on health breaks, because the man gone.
Yeah, but it still doesn't
Now, you gotta understand
it still doesn't change the fact that gold is money.
No, I'm dealing with that.
Right. So now what
You're not gonna get it.
the prophet did was like all the countries or so-called countries are doing now with the United States company. They're demanding their gold back. The prophet went to the convention, not to say that this is our land only. He went back to take and say, give us our gold back. Because you notice, once he asked for the gold, what happened right after that in 1929? Or actually in 1928.
Wait.
Hold on, what happened in 1928?
Yeah,
After the convention, stock market crash,
crash.
right? So that's when he went and say it again, brother, because I want to hear that. Say it again. We got a crash coming up. We expect the industry to come to a screeching halt through a crash. And now we just remember that.
Now, let me piggyback on